And so she brings in so many players with such great international experience, which makes a big difference coming to college play.
Georgia Tech to serve, and a near ace to start, and a great dig, but a point for the Panthers.
Going to their fifth-year senior, Emma Monks, who has just been dominating all year. She has been stepping up in so many ways. We will definitely be seeing her a lot tonight.
Yeah, Otene was able to get her hand under that. You see Michele's resume, 10th season at Georgia Tech. Their careers have almost mirrored, and these games just seem to be getting bigger between these two. Vasquez Gomez the serve, and a kill in the middle.
I love that Georgia Tech goes to the middle early on, as we just talked about their middle position being up in the air and in question tonight. So for them to get a great pass, go straight to the middle, I think they're setting the tone early.
6'2", Anna Bozy. And now Bertolino to serve. Set, dig. Opportunity here for Georgia Tech, blocked at the net, but point off the hit by Otene.
I love the dig coming from Georgia Tech libero, being able to start that rally, digging Tori Stafford on the outside, giving her team, Georgia Tech, a great position to score.
2-1 Georgia Tech early on. And you can see why they're so good at serving this year. The ace by Bertolino. Panthers lead this series 13 matches to 2. That might be especially recently, might be a bit deceiving of how tight these have been, especially that one last year.
Yeah, lots of fifth setters, and I think we're preparing for a big game tonight, just like those past ones.
And a run here from Georgia Tech, now up 4-1 off the hit by Pierce. Excuse me, hit by Mendez. Bertolino remains control here. And the tip attempt works perfectly for the Panthers from Olivia Babcock.
Smart shot by Babcock. We'll be seeing a bunch of big swings from her tonight. She can go high hands. If there's space, she can go straight down. But I love the decision to give an off speed.
A little miscommunication there on the Georgia Tech side. It's 4-2 Yellow Jackets. I mean, Klicka to serve for the Panthers. Opportunity here for Pitt. Stafford dug, but over the net. Swing and point, Georgia Tech. No tip. The hit out, and now 5-2 Yellow Jackets.
Georgia Tech showing what they're made of. They're going to have to do this all night in order to slow down Pitt's offense. They are having tough defense, making a lot of digs.
Paola Pimentel to serve. Wind up and kill for Babcock. So a couple of early kills for the freshman.
Love the decision by Rachel Fairbanks, setter, to go right back to Babcock after she had just made a small hitting error. But Rachel just trusts her hitters and is able to go right back to her. Babcock gets the kill immediately.
Down 2, Babcock serve. Good dig by Bertolino. Point Panthers.
Chiamaka starting off the blocks early on. We will be seeing her get blocks all night long. She's aggressive up at the net. She's a great reader. She waits until she knows and gets her hands over for a long time.
It's almost like she took the set.
Exactly.
And big serve, and we're tied at 5. Wow. Look at those block numbers. Panthers not only best of the Texas schools, but best in the country. It's kind of amazing. Texas is 2 through 4. But the Panthers, that number is far and above everybody else. And another big serve by Babcock. It's dug that time. Now a chance here. Stafford on the other side.
Love the serves from Babcock. We will talk about her serves a lot as well. She can do it all. Georgia Tech and Pitt both having topspin servers, which is really getting both teams out of system.
Panthers back in the lead 6-5 here in the first set. This battle for the ACC. and in. What a run here by Olivia Babcock. Came in with 13 aces.
There is that serve. That's going to be one of the best serves in the country. It's aggressive, it's hard, it comes at you high, and then as we just saw there, it drops in barely at the back line.
Good dig by Bertolino. And over the line. Error by Georgia Tech. So how do you try to return this serve when it's coming at you?
It's really tough, but you have to be patient and make your one move. You only get one opportunity. Sometimes with the slower serve, you can track it a little bit longer, you can move a little bit slower. This, you have to try to get in the line early, and you almost want to receive it as if it's a dig, because it's coming with that pace that a hit does come at. So you get your arms out early, you set your angle, and then you just try to let it hit perfectly off your arms.
Klicka with a nice bump set over to Stafford, who puts it through the block. And the Panthers are on quite a roll here. 7 straight points.
Yeah, great setup by Klicka there. You see her diving in, giving Tori Stafford plenty of space to reach high hands.
It was 5-2, Georgia Tech. And Otene able to get it back for Georgia Tech. It must have seemed like an eternity, but because they had built that lead, still just down 3.
Yeah, Georgia Tech is right here in it. That getting out of that rotation was super crucial for them. It started with a perfect pass. Otene able to get the kill.
Coach Collier. Served by the Yellow Jackets. And a bit of a slide, a little out of system, but Wokolo able to get the point.
Yeah, you mentioned the slide run there. We have seen multiple different lineups for Pittsburgh. We have seen them run a 6-2 offense, and we've seen them run a 5-1 offense tonight. They've started with the 5-1 offense, which means that Rachel Fairbanks setter has liberty to push middles behind in slides, which we just saw.
Now, it looks a lot different, but the result is still the same, an ace for Tori Stafford. Panthers up 11-6. Pitt hitting 500 early on to 300 for Georgia Tech. And set back, and Georgia Tech into the net.
Yep, just a tight pass there. Setter tries to go up and grab it, but unfortunately in the net.
Look at those points for Tori Stafford, just a freshman through her first 4 conference matches. We're in the first set, and what should be a doozy. Panthers up early, 12-6 over Georgia Tech.
Hi, this is Chantrice, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A.
The numbers for Tori Stafford serving, Olivia Babcock, who just served, and it's very impressive, especially early in conference play. Numbers are impressive. Otene has also been impressive. 3 kills here early on for Georgia Tech. And from the middle, a face saver for Otene. Good dive by Klicka. And Wokolo's hit is dug by Georgia Tech from the back. And the Panthers save this one over. They do. And a kill in the middle. Oh, wow. Big kill in the middle for Isabella D'Amico. Set to Vasquez Gomez. Point Panthers. Couple of aces on the season. Kat Flood in to serve, the senior from Illinois. The Panthers up 13-8 here. First set, Panthers and Yellow Jackets. That writes another big hit. Oh, monster hit by Fado Maniac. A lot of power. Stafford tried to get enough of it, but Panthers block it at the net. Georgia Tech keeps it alive, and another good dig there by Klicka. Good dig by Bertolino. Excuse me, Otane. And blocked at the net. So points all through that point, but it just kept going, and the grad student from TCU making a big impact here the last couple of points. The dig, and point again for Georgia Tech, and they have climbed right back into this first set, now 13-11. Fairbanks set. Chance here for Georgia Tech in the middle. Anna Boise from Troy, Ohio, just a sophomore, and now it's Dan Fisher that calls timeout. Yellow Jackets hitting .400 here in the first set, and really keyed by this run here of 4-0. So you look at their numbers during this 4-match win streak. The hit percentage, the opponent hit percentage, they're second only to the Panthers in opponent hit percentage in the ACC.
Yeah, their opponent hitting percentage speaks highly of their defense and how they're able to keep the ball alive. And if you're playing against them, your offense, it gets very frustrated very fast when teams are continually digging you, making plays out of nothing, and finding a way to keep the ball off the floor, which we see that they've already done tonight early on.
Chile Collier. Of course, the loss was to Georgia earlier, and that was in front of a record crowd of 5,300 at home. But they had a big weekend earlier this year, Georgia Tech did, with wins at Ohio State, back-to-back wins against the 12th, at the time, 12th-ranked Buckeyes. Before that, they beat Penn State. So they have some resume-building wins, and you look at the success for this Georgia Tech program, and they're looking kind of like where Pitt was maybe a few years ago, looking to take that next step in the NCAA tournament. Definitely,
and having a tough schedule like they've had so far this year is the way to do it. Being able to play big games in preseason and in ACC play will be able to really take them to that next level.
Service error by Georgia Tech. Panthers back up 2, and that stops the 4-0 run. Rachel Fairbanks to serve. And block in the middle, out point, Georgia Tech.
I love the use again of the middle there. They have perfect pass. And the balance of Georgia Tech's offense gives the freedom to the setters to really go to any player that they want.
Two defensive teams separated by a point. Georgia Tech looking to tie it right back up. High in the air. Wow.
Babcock.
Those freshman legs.
Exactly. Babcock showing off her true athletic ability, just going over the block and down with that kill.
Vasquez Gomez to serve for the Panthers. 15-13 here, first set. And hit blocked by the Panthers. Another opportunity. This one not blocked. Mendez able to kill it. The freshman from Brazil.
Yeah, another really important freshman that we will see here tonight. She's an amazing player. She's added a lot of value to this Georgia Tech team, and those 2 swings in a row, getting blocked on the first one, but getting the kill immediately after just shows her skill.
Good dig by Pimentel. And on the way down, Babcock able to tip that onto Georgia Tech floor.
Started off with a great dig there. But Pitt finishing with the block. Babcock hanging, able to get her fingertips on it, shoved it down. She makes it look easy, but that is not easy to do.
Click it a serve. Panthers up 2. Otene in. Perfect placement.
Great swing by Otene. I always say that in that back corner, that's where all the points lie. It's so hard to hit it into that back corner because you have to go over or around the block, and you have to go in between 2 defenders. But when you can hit that back corner, it's almost always a kill.
And when you can set up like that.
Great swing by Chiamaka.
We've seen a couple of those here tonight.
Wokolo fast on the ball. You see how fast and low that Fairbanks set that so that they could beat the blockers, which is exactly what Wokolo was set up to do.
Babcock serve. Tip, good save. Opportunity other side by Stafford is blocked. Now from the back, a kill for Babcock.
Great small ball play there. Able to get covers, able to pick tips up off the floor. Babcock comes diving in for that play, and then just a couple seconds later, able to get the kill.
It's amazing for 2 teams that are so good defensively. The hitting percentages are so high here as a service error for Babcock.
Yeah, being able to have such great defense, but also at the same time, being able to have such unstoppable offense is just really highlights why these 2 teams are 2 of the best teams in the country.
Isabella D'Amico, the senior from Westerville. It's about 3 hours from here. And tipped by Wokolo. Opportunity here for Otene. And gets it off the block. And within a point are the Yellow Jackets.
Otene is a really smart player. So we've seen her go up and take big swings. We've seen her make swings that go into the back corner, that go sharp. We've seen her go up and rip it, but we also see her able to take some speed off of a hit like that, use the block, and get a kill.
From the back and in for Babcock.
Great spot with that swing. I talked about it earlier, but where the points lie, they're going to be in back corners like that. Those balls are so hard to stop.
Right in front of the official. 19-17 Panthers. Otene, the perfect placement. We've seen a number of shots here. Why are we seeing such high percentages? We're seeing perfect placements, whether it's on tips or swings or whatever.
Yeah, super smart, and I think Georgia Tech knew that coming in, that Pitt's block is really aggressive and hard to get by, and so Georgia Tech just highlighting that, you know what, we can swing hard, but we can also make really smart shots.
How do you have eyes in the back of your head like Fairbanks to be able to make that play right there?
Right, that's just going to come from feel and experience, and so she knows that since she's front row that hopefully that middle blocker will jump with her and she can pull them, which they did. Just able to use that left hand to push it over.
Rachel Fairbanks can do everything for this Panther team. Kat Flood in to serve. Panthers up 2 here late in the first set. And a hit off the block and through.
Bertolino using the high hands. Again, we will talk about Pitt's block all night, but that is how you're going to get kills on it. You have to use it to your advantage. And so for Bertolino to be able to go up, swing high hands, and get fingertips by the block touch is really smart.
The senior Elizabeth Patterson in to serve. Chance to tie it at 20. Fairbanks. I don't know exactly what that was. It was a point Panthers.
That is when you just say, you know what, a kill is a kill. No, it was a great save.
Was that
by
a
Emma
visual
Marks.
admission that that's not exactly what she was looking to do there?
I think every time you go up to be able to swing hard, and sometimes when a play happens so fast, you got to take what you can get.
21-19, what has been an exciting first set. Near ace, and a free ball here for Pitt. On the right side, Doug. And now Panthers able to get it over and extend this point that seemed like a couple of times it would have been over by now. Hit is deep by Boese. And the Panthers now 3 points from this first set.
That rally may be a gift for Pittsburgh. I think we're going to see a challenge here by Georgia Tech. Timeout,
Take
excuse
a timeout, yeah. You know, we're watching a pair of teams that have won a number of matches in a row. We look at the ACC active win streaks. Panthers with 7, Georgia Tech with 6, Florida State with 6, perfect in the ACC so far. And of course, NC State coming off a bit of a shocking upset now with 2 straight.
Absolutely, and these win strings are just giving confidence to these teams. When you're able to string together not just matches, but sets as well, then you feel good going into your next opponent, no matter who it is, no matter what ranking they are. If you're able just to string together wins, small victories, big victories, they all make a big difference in your game.
Tamara Otene, a senior from Auckland, New Zealand, and Olivia Babcock, a freshman from Los Angeles, California, are the leading hitters so far. 6 kills for Otene, Babcock with 5, and of course the solid service run that got the Panthers into a lead, which they've pretty much maintained since that serve, although there's been a lot of 1-point back and forth between these two teams.
Yeah, we've seen great servers tonight, and I think the thing that stuck out most to me about the kill leaders here tonight is their hitting percentage. The hitting percentage is so high. They're able to get kills, but they're able to do so at such a great efficiency.
As a team, Pitt hitting .393, Georgia Tech's hitting .387.
Yeah, those numbers are hard to stop, and that's why we will see such a battle here tonight.
One of the things Georgia Tech does very well is dig. They're up 4 on digs. Fairbanks to serve. Panthers 3 points from the first set. Vasquez Gomez blocked. I'm telling you what, the grad student Manyang, 6'3" from TCU, came in with just 39 kills, but she's much more than just someone that can attack.
She is making her presence known, whether, like you said, it's attacking or blocking. Up at the net, she is making sure that everybody knows that she is here tonight.
And here's for Vasquez Gomez, 23-20.
Great swing for Vasquez Gomez on the right side in that one rotation. We see her go up. Only 1 block against her, and she's able to use that to her advantage.
The senior from Puerto Rico, Valeria Vasquez Gomez, preseason All ACC. So that serve in, and the hit is in. Boy, big hit by Mendez, Larissa, the freshman.
Yeah, smart swing, tough swing to stop. Again, hitting that back line is just really hard swings to stop, and that's a veteran kill by the freshman.
Bertolino. Ace for Bertolino, and Georgia Tech is down a point.
Bertolino started off this match with a service run. And so there's nobody else that you would rather have than Bertolino back on the service line right now if you're Georgia Tech.
That's 37 aces on the season, not a career, a season. And a block in the middle. Panthers able to get it over somehow. And a dunk by Otene, and we're 23 all here in the first set. And Dan Fisher now will call a timeout. How about this Georgia Tech team? you're on the road, big crowd, everybody's into it, and they've fought back to tie it up at 23.
Yeah, I think you're coming into this environment excited, but also ready to prove yourself. They are ranked lower than Pittsburgh, and so they're coming into this match trying to prove a point, not just to the ACC, but to the entire country, that they belong in this top matchup.
This matchup has been a lot of fun. You look at the opponent hit percentage by the Yellow Jackets, you think, okay, 197, that's probably a standard. They dropped that down to 175, now 146 for the Yellow Jackets. What does it take to build a good defensive program?
Defense is a lot about attitude. And so when you're in the back row, being able to have the mindset that no matter what, no matter where this goes, I can dig it. If I touch it, I can dig it. And so being able to have that mentality and that effort to chase down balls, to dive for balls, to be able to take hard-driven balls at you, it's a lot about your attitude and what you can take. And then when you're in the front row and you're blocking, you're trying to make good reads and good decisions. And so you're looking a lot at the setters and a lot at the passing, making those decisions to try to slow down the other hitters.
You see those numbers that can run in opposition of each other, obviously. See Pimentel. Bianca Bertolino at 23 all. Now a chance for the Yellow Jackets with a serve to get to a set point. The big serve is dug by Klicka. Opportunity here for Otene. Klicka again. Stafford is blocked. And the Panthers able to get it over. But Otene puts it away, and the Yellow Jackets a point from this first set.
Otene with some big authority with that kill.
Panthers were just surviving, it seemed, on that point, and eventually the Yellow Jackets put it away, and now one of the best servers in all of volleyball, a chance to win the first set. Fairbanks, Stafford, tip, read well by Georgia Tech. Pimentel to Otene, and Georgia Tech comes back to win the first set. Boy, what a comeback, Kayla, for this Yellow 3. We're glad you joined us here on the ACC Network. What a great matchup between two premier programs in the country. And who would get the first point?
The freshman, number 11 from Brazil, starting off Georgia Tech's strong offense.
Larissa Mendez, who has also been solid here. The freshman, her first opportunity to play in this matchup, and Georgia Tech takes an early lead. And a couple of tips over, and kill attempt again buried. This one by Otene, her 10th.
Otene using the Pitt block so smartly. It is so hard to do that, to be able to see the hands and be able to hit it hard enough, high enough around hands in front of you.
And a service error. We have not seen many of those. Dan Fisher looks on. Shelley Collier. 2-1 Georgia Tech here in the second set. Vasquez Gomez to serve for Pitt. And an ace for Vasquez Gomez.
If you're Pittsburgh, that's what you're wanting to do. You're wanting to switch the pressure from being on them onto their opponents. And we've seen pressure coming from Georgia Tech onto Pitt, especially in serve-receive.
That's the 18th ace. It's not hit as hard as some of the other serves, but what makes her serve so challenging?
She has a really great recoil, and what we mean by that is that when she hits the ball, she recoils her hand, and so just as she just did, the ball is able to drop. And so she has a hard, firm hand, able to get really tough float, which is so hard to pass. But you see there, it just drops underneath, and so that is where the recoil comes from.
So like a knuckleball in baseball, it's just hard to...
Exactly, hard to track, and it moves and can die right in front of you.
Panthers back in the lead, 3-2, and the hit through the block by Otene, and we're tied at 3.
Otene showing off her range. She's able to tip.
She's just showing off.
She is just showing off here tonight. It is a big stage, and she showed up today. She's able to swing hard, high, throw in tips. Really smart player.
Stafford's hit is long, no tip. 4-3 Yellow Jackets.
I like the thought process of Stafford there. She was aiming for high hands of Georgia Tech, went a little bit too high. I think we're going to see her start to warm up here in the second set.
Pimentel to serve. And a big swing just out by Babcock.
These little plays in a big matchup like this make a difference. And I think that we will see Pitt's offense get comfortable and start making these plays that they normally do, but these swings are missing hands, missing out of bounds by inches.
And an ace for Georgia Tech. Pimentel has gone on a run. We saw Babcock go on a run in the first set to get the Panthers the lead. Now we're seeing Georgia Tech on a 4-0 run. Off the serve of their fifth-year senior. Panthers bust through, though. Babcock with the kill. 6-4, Georgia Tech.
Great job by Fairbanks there, able to reverse. It was a low pass coming at her. She was able to get under it really fast and give Babcock the freedom to take a big rip and swing high and hard.
Amy Klicka, a junior from Ohio. Such a valuable piece of this team. Otene dug by Klicka. And that hit just a little long by Vasquez Gomez. 7-4 Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, great dig by Klicka. You mentioned that she has been really pivotal to Pittsburgh's success. She's one of the hardest workers on the team, and that she can prove that with digging hard-driven balls, running down plays, and also a great serve receive.
7-4 Yellow Jackets. Good dig by Pimentel. The double hit, I believe, by Georgia Tech. Off the serve from D'Amico there. It's now 7-5.
Pittsburgh gets a bit of a break there. They're definitely hoping to capitalize on it and hopefully tie this back up.
Olivia Babcock did it in the first set. Let a scoring run. That serve dug well. Today just hits it over. A chance here for Pitt as Fairbanks ran all the way back. Otene dug by Klicka. And Stafford slipped. Trying to get set up for that spike attempt. Block of Otene. Wokolo in on that with Fairbanks, and an error, rare error by Georgia Tech, and it's 7-6.
Pittsburgh trying to creep their way back into this long rally. Great dig by Emmy Klicka as Otene absolutely rips it. Klicka is able to stay balanced, get a dig, and in the end, make sure that her team gets the point.
You know, she has 7. It seems like 17.
She might be small on the court, but she has a big presence as a defender and in serve receive as well. You'll notice that as she's maturing, she's starting to take more space, giving a lot of freedom and liberty for her hitters to leave.
Babcock, again, that tough serve. Well dug by Pimentel. Otene not over. 7-all.
Starting off with a tough serve by Babcock. Pittsburgh making the great read, sending their blockers out to the outside.
Big hit dug by Pimentel. And Georgia Tech able to get it over. Chance here for the Panthers, though. Stafford puts it down, and the Panthers back in front here, 8-7.
There's Stafford, and Fairbanks giving her a one-on-one opportunity, running Wokolo on the slide behind. And that's the benefits of having a 5-1, is that you're able to trick the middles and the blockers, giving your hitters hopefully a one-on-one opportunity.
Cox serve, and kill in the middle by Georgia Tech. That's Isabella D'Amico. Another preseason All-ACC. Came in with 418 assists, but obviously can do more than just set.
Yeah, D'Amico setting up her middle there, giving Pierce a lot of space to get that kill.
And she put up some huge numbers last time they hit, and the slide into the net was Georgia Tech. On the slide, hit by Wokolo, and a point to the Panthers, now 9-8.
I love seeing the middle kill by Georgia Tech and Pitt automatically going to their middle almost to match out and say, hey, we can do it too.
Stafford serve. And through the tip of the Panthers, point to Georgia Tech. And once again, it's the big grad student.
Great swing on the right side, high hands. Looked almost like it was out of bounds, but those small touches make a big difference and are hard to do.
And Fairbanks tried a little quick hit over again. Manyang is blocked, but falls on the Panthers side. Point for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, great swing again, using Pitt's block against them to get that kill.
She's not only tall, she's physically big.
Super athletic. She takes up a lot of space on the court.
And a palm on the Panthers on the hit by, I think, Vasquez Gomez.
Unfortunately, I believe they called back row attack there.
Was that it? Okay.
Yeah, that was it. So back row attacker stepped on that 10-foot line, that white line that goes in the middle of the court, which you cannot do. Point goes to Georgia Tech.
11-9 Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, so we see Babcock's toes barely touch that white line, and unfortunately it doesn't matter how much you touch or go over that white line. If you're on it at all, it is an overcall.
And block Wokolo. There was some support from Vasquez Gomez, but I think that was Chiamaka's herself.
Yeah, great setup by Vasquez Gomez. And so then all that Chiamaka has to do is come in close to her and make sure her hands are over, and that's a great block setup and a great close by Wokolo.
Cat Flood in to serve at 10-11. And Panthers unable to get that one over. Miscommunication. Rachel Fairbanks slipped down. And Flood will come out. Wokolo back in. Klicka will come in as well.
Yeah, weird play. There was a slip. I think Pittsburgh is talking to the ref now about maybe somebody was under, and Fairbanks and Georgia Tech player got a bit tangled up at the net. So there was a bit of a miscue there. Players not knowing that Fairbanks was down, and ball drops.
Freshman Eloise Soares. And that, the return went over, but Rachel Fairbanks able to muscle that one down onto the Georgia Tech side.
Definitely with authority. There might have been a little bit of some pent-up anger in that push down from the previous play. And you could just tell there was no way that she was going to let that ball get by her, showing off her weight room muscles.
12-11 Georgia Tech here, first set. We have a challenge?
I believe so. I believe they might be challenging if Rachel Fairbanks was either in the net or over.
Well, let's take a look. What do you think?
They did give the call to Georgia Tech. It looks like in this slow-mo that on Fairbanks' finish.
They didn't need long to look at it.
Right there.
There you go. Good challenge by Georgia Tech. So instead of 12-11, Pitt with the serve, now 13-10 Yellow Jackets. Soares to continue serving. And hit by Babcock is wide. That was another close one.
Absolutely, and I think Coach Dan is going to challenge that.
Back-to-back challenges here in the second set. Critical set here for the Panthers. We saw them come back against Oregon down 2 sets, but lose in the 5th. It's so hard against a top 11 team to get down 2 sets and expect to be able to come back.
Yeah, being down 2 is tough mentally because you're in a do or die situation. And so if you can even it up right now, it gives you a better headspace going into the next sets.
As you see the challenge rule system, if you're new to volleyball, 2 challenges, you win, you keep them. You lose them. And it is a Pitt point, so back-to-back good decisions by the head coaches.
Great swing by Babcock here. Barely hitting that line. It happens so fast, and so the use of challenges is really a great addition to the game because of how athletic and strong these players are. These plays happen so quickly, and there's really just barely centimeters that can make a big difference in a call, and so sometimes it's really hard to see.
And the technology is so much better, and so many more televised matches that you have the cameras to take really good looks. A near ace for Fairbanks, but dunked down by Babcock.
Yeah, if you're Babcock in that situation, you give a thank you to your server, to Fairbanks, for getting them out of system and giving her that opportunity to get the free kill.
So you see Emma Monks in for the Panthers. They're number 9. A little floor cleaning. Panthers trail by 1 here, second set. Rachel Fairbanks. And a block tipped over. Good save by Klicka. From the back is Babcock to put the point away, and we're 13-all.
Such a great save, such a scrappy play. You had two players diving for that dig to keep the ball off the ground, and that's what you want to see. You want to see the players hit the floor, find any kind of way. And I love the decision. You see the speed in Fairbanks' set to go back to Babcock.
She just went right at that block. 3-0, make it 4-0 scoring run for the Panthers. The ace by Fairbanks.
Fairbanks taking matters into her own hands here. She has a really tough serve, especially when it comes straight on. She hits it from a high point, but she also is able to have really great flotation and speed on it.
Fairbanks serve, and a tough dig. And hit by Mendez, dug by the Panthers. Kill in the middle by Emma Monks. The Panthers take a 15-13 lead. Georgia Tech's up a set, but the Panthers are up here in the second here at the University of Pittsburgh.
It's bow time.
It's not just football season.
That 3 consecutive ACC championships, 2017, 2018, 2019. A big part of those teams is Kayla Lund calling here tonight. Sure, some fun memories as you look at those pictures.
So much fun, and being able to see those pictures just brings back a lot of memories of so much history that Pittsburgh has been able to make under the coaching of Dan Fisher. He's created really special teams here, and each year just gets better and better. And so to be able to look back and see what Pitt has been able to do in the past, but also just to see what they're doing now in the present and what they will continue to do in the future is super special.
Scoring run ended by the Panthers. Chance for the Yellow Jackets, and they do indeed tie it. Otene from the left side. That's kill 12. And you see some of Kayla's numbers. 1,676 kills. The digs, the aces. You did it all, Kayla.
Well, I had a great team. I had great support staff behind me, and so nobody's numbers are able to be made without your team behind you, with the amazing setters that I had. Lexus Akeo, who's currently still on the team, Kamalani Akeo, who's on coaching staff. And I played with some of these girls out here right now, and so they're able to make it all possible.
Emma Monks with the kill. Panthers up a point. You've bridged the Akeo sisters. And Panthers get blocked up front. 2 straight here for Pitt, 17-15.
Yeah, the Akeos have meant so much to me. We see here Kamalani Akeo. Kamalani was my mentor and role model when I started here as a freshman. She has great numbers. She's, of course, sister of the current Pitt setter, Lexus Akeo, who I also played with. But Kamalani was the hardest worker out there. She's always been undersized, but she let everybody know that she has a presence out there. Nobody outworked Kamalani Akeo, and then when you're young and you're underneath that, it's so easy just to follow in her footsteps. So a lot of this program's success is due to her as well.
And a little known fact, they moved from Hawaii because of the better weather here. Pimentel to serve for Georgia Tech, trailing by a point. 17-16. It was Georgia Tech going on a run to end the first set, as it almost looked like some type of pirouette of dives.
That did. We see the decision by Monks here. A great set by Fairbanks to grab that with one hand. And Monks, because of the speed of it, had to find a way to get it over and ends up finding a kill in what we call the donut, which is the middle of the court.
How about Emma Monk's impact here in the second set? And that's what a deep bench can do. You can find somebody that can be a spark, and Monks has been the spark. That hit by Otene blocked out of bounds, so a point for Georgia Tech.
Monks has definitely been a spark, not only for this match so far, but for the team. With the injury of Bree Kelly, Monks being here as a transfer has been so crucial for Pitt's success this year, and she has come into this position and has just dominated and has been such a pleasant surprise for Pittsburgh.
D'Amico's serve. And Stafford just has to tip it over. And now a tip save by Klicka, although they're saying it did hit the floor before Klicka was able to get to it. That will tie it up here in the second set.
So pancakes are super tricky, and they're tricky to call as well, because in order for the ball to be up, the ball has to completely cover your hand. It cannot touch the floor at all. And so on the replay, that looks like a great dig to me. Tough to see in real time, but doesn't matter because Olivia Babcock takes it into her own hands and says, no worries, I got this one for you, Emmy.
And I think Dan Fisher's probably complaint is let it play out, and then if you want to replay it after. 19-18 Panthers. Huge second set for Pitt. Babcock serve. Otene is blocked, but down, and Georgia Tech ties it back up. It's kill 14, and Otene now will serve.
We've talked about it before tonight, and we will continue to see it, but Georgia Tech really using Pittsburgh's block to their advantage, which is hard to do. We have not seen a lot of teams be able to do that this year.
And Babcock, almost like the spin off her serve, she's able to get that to dive right at the back line for a point. Yeah,
we see with her back row attack that she's able to have a long approach, and that's why it kind of replicates her serve, because you see her long approach for maybe a bit of a higher set, and she's able to have a big rip high and hard.
Stafford's serve is in. Block. Georgia Tech goes to the other side. That one's blocked. Klicka saves it. Chance here in the middle. Dug though by Otene. What a dig. Now a slide by Wokolo. Can't get that one, but what a point.
What a rally. Great plays on both sides. Great defensive plays, blocking, digging, great swings as well. But Wokolo getting the crowd super excited and into it on that swing.
Klicka with a nice save.
We see great saves from both players in the back row. Tough digs here. Great option to run behind. You see Wokolo has one blocker up, and she's able to cut it down line.
Pimentel had no chance at that one. So does it weigh into your mind, if you're Pitt, that you were here last time in the first set? Does that play a factor here as Dan Fisher's talking to his team.
Definitely does. This is something that hopefully the girls can talk about and coaches can also bring to their attention that say, hey, just because we have the lead right now, Georgia Tech was really great in crucial situation last set. We know that they have the ability, the talent to make this comeback and come away with a win. So we have to find a way to come out and hold strong and keep this lead.
Georgia Tech still hitting .381. Panthers hitting .310. This matchup of top 11 teams. Panthers 13-2. Georgia Tech 13-1. Pitt losing to a couple of ranked opponents at BYU to start the season, or on the road at least to BYU. And then the loss to Oregon here at home. You see the records there. Louisville coming off a bit of a stunning loss. And, you know, I know you've seen in the times that you played the improvement of this conference, just the overall depth of play in this conference.
Yeah, it's great to not only see teams do really well in ACC play, but then to see that translate into overall NCAA play, whether it's preseason or most importantly in the NCAA tournament. If you're able to have tough competition in conference play, that sets you up for great competition in NCAA play and for making historic wins.
Wokolo and Klicka with a couple of good saves. Georgia Tech on the other side. That one. Oh, was that is there a double hit somewhere along the way? A point to Georgia Tech nonetheless.
The refs are putting up a 2, which means a double play. I'm not sure if we missed it at some point in there.
Well, let's take a look. That one's definitely wide.
Wait, we see wide and no touch there, which is what finished the rally, but I'm not quite sure what refs were calling towards.
Manyan with the swing. And while we're here in timeout, we saw Bertolino come over and talk to one of the officials as well for Georgia Tech. So here the Panthers are up a point here in the second set. Georgia Tech won the first set 25-23. It's no challenge, just a timeout here between these two programs. Well, we were discussing the depth, and I would imagine too, as a few teams separate themselves but get into that top 10 situation, that other programs are just going to build because people are going to be excited to play against the Pitts and Georgia Techs and Louisvilles.
Yeah, it's huge for volleyball and for all of these programs that there are so many good teams at the top level now. There's not as big of a drop-off as maybe there has been in the past, which is what every team, what every program, what every college team in the country wants, no matter what sport you are. You want to be playing in the best conference in order to give you a good chance at winning that national title.
And then the ACC will add Stanford next year to that mix.
Absolutely. That will be such a game changer for volleyball. Stanford, one of the best programs in the country, and over history they have consistently been one of the best programs in the country, and so adding that talent in will be huge. California
native, what was your reaction when all that went down?
I'm excited. I think it'll be hard on the athletes because of the travel. In the middle of the school years, travel can really make a difference, and so adding in those long travel days will affect the student athletes. But the competition will definitely be raised, and that's exactly what you want as an athlete.
And a kill by Vasquez Gomez. Panthers up 2. There'll be some families in California that'll be very happy that they get to see their daughters.
There will be. There's a good amount of California to Pittsburgh streamline here, and that all starts with Coach Dan Fisher, a California native, and so it's easy. And we see Dylan here from California as well, back to serve.
First opportunity here for Griffin. It's that serve over. Panthers up 2. Tip dug by Vasquez Gomez to Griffin. From the back, kill attempt is long. Georgia Tech gets the point and the serve back off the error from Stafford.
Yeah, frustrating play maybe for Pittsburgh there. they're a team that likes to be really aggressive. And so sometimes when just small mistakes like that happen, it can be draining for the team.
Eloise Suarez, a freshman, back in to serve here for Georgia Tech. This is where the Yellow Jackets did it in the first set. And a last-second left-handed tip. And out of bounds off the hands of Emma Monks, and we're tied at 22.
I like the decision to run the middle. The middles have been working. Unfortunately, just a bit of a miscue there, and Monks not able to keep the ball alive, giving Georgia Tech a break there.
22 all. From the back, and the kill by Babcock.
Yeah, Babcock is a threat from anywhere on the court. You can run her behind, front row, back row, in the middle. She's a great person to run to, especially tonight, playing well, having a great hitting percentage. And when you're in trouble, if you're Pittsburgh, it's easy to throw it back to her.
Dozen kills. Otene leads everyone with 14. Swing dug. Klicka. Vasquez Gomez slipped for a second, but able to get that off. Tip attempt, dug again by the Panthers. And a big swing by Babcock off the arm of Fairbanks. Point, Georgia Tech.
Huge block by Georgia Tech. Great setup there. They most likely knew who was going to as an out-of-system play, and so all they had to do was be steady, balance, and make sure that they stayed disciplined to get over.
Boise with good dig by Klicka. And wind up by Babcock, saved by Stafford. Klicka's going to get it over. 23 all. Otene. 15 kills. And set point here for Georgia Tech. And Fisher's going to call timeout.
Long rallies here, but who else to finish that for Georgia Tech than Otene? Pittsburgh making scrappy plays. If you're Georgia Tech, give it to your best player. Have an amazing night.
The numbers favor Georgia Tech. They are up a set and a point from being up 2 sets. The hit percentage, I guess, to me is what's so surprising against such a good defensive team, and a team obviously that blocks like no other.
Yeah, Georgia Tech's hitting percentage is so high that it's just hard to stop, and we see them using Pitt's block to their advantage, using their defense, spreading the offense well, but Otene also having an amazing night, and so they're just firing on all cylinders.
And you have exactly who you want serving. And Bianca Bertolino.
If you're in Georgia Tech, you're in a great position right now to finish this out. It'll be exciting to see what Pitt can do out of this timeout, what they can produce, see if they can tie it up, come away with the win, or if Georgia Tech can finish it like they did in the first set, making a comeback again.
The drop-off, Otene with 15 kills. Next best is Larissa Mendez with 5 for the Panthers, 12 for Babcock. Then Monks and Wokolo have 4. You mentioned that middle and the success Panthers had there. Panthers just looking a way to get a serve back, get it back tied at 24.
Starting this match, I talked about the importance of Georgia Tech's balance that they have this year. They have so many players, with the loss of someone that we all know, Julia Bergman, who was an amazing player, one of the best in the country and the world now.
And an ace for Bertolino. Her 38th of the Georgia Tech to serve. Up 2 sets to none. And a kill in the middle by Monks, excuse me.
Fairbanks setting her up perfectly there after the perfect pass from Klicka. If you're Pittsburgh, that's exactly how you want to start off this third match in a do-or-die situation.
It has been since 2020 that the Panthers were swept. An ACC play near ace. Georgia Tech able to get it over, and Wokolo killed it in the middle.
Love the decisions by Fairbanks to run the middles if they have the opportunity. I think getting Pittsburgh middles hot and being able to let them take over this match will be really crucial for them to come out with this win.
Emma Monks continues to serve, hitting .571. Wokolo hitting .625.
Pretty impressive stat lines there.
Long serve. And the tip is perfect. Great decision by Georgia Tech. I think that was Bertolino.
Bertolino on the right side in that rotation makes such a smart play, just right over the Pittsburgh block. Those balls are so hard to dig because you don't know if the block should try to touch it and drop down and dig it, or if the back row defender has enough time to get to it or not.
Panthers able to get that over off the great serve. Dug again. And dug well by Georgia Tech this time. Wokolo, you know, she wanted it back, and the kill, a mistake by the Panthers. It's 2-all. Bertolino, a couple of all-ACC teams. And then you add in that she's one of the best servers in the entire country.
She's had a great career so far. Just being able to watch her grow from the player that she was as a freshman to now the player that she is today. She is a leader on this team. She is, like you mentioned, one of the best servers in the country, and so she has been really pivotal for this Georgia Tech team.
So what's the mindset when you're down 2-0 against an 11th ranked team in the nation?
You have to make that switch into underdog mentality, and at this point, now you don't have a lot to lose. So if you're feeling kind of uncomfortable about how you've been playing, if you're down on yourself, you have to make that mental switch and mindset shift into, okay, we are the ones that maybe have been preyed on. How do we become the attackers now?
And that service attack just long by Babcock. Seen Alexis Akeo enter the lineup for the Panthers.
Pittsburgh making that lineup change. We've seen so far this match that they've been in a 5-1 the whole time. This is them going into a 6-2, which they've done in previous matches. And so they're not uncomfortable with a 6-2. They've practiced it. They've played with it many times before.
Otene hits that one long for a rare error for her. You see Akeo, the senior, and what a team-first player to be able to kind of accept her role on the squad right now.
Definitely. She's had maybe a bit of a backwards career, but I think that only speaks to the high level of Pitt volleyball. She came in as a freshman needing to play right away, and she's been the starter. She's been the main setter for years. Now that Pittsburgh has grown so much and has been able to recruit so highly, we see her having to take a bit of a backseat in this roster. But her leadership, her work ethic, everything that she adds to the team, it's hard to put words with it.
Vasquez Gomez able to get the serve back for the Panthers. Monks back in. Semi-click of the serve. Georgia Tech 25-23 in each of the first two sets. And in each one of them, Georgia Tech trailed late in those sets and able to come back.
Which, being able to know if you're Georgia Tech and you know that you can do that and you've done it multiple sets, it's a big confidence boost for you that no matter what, if you're down in a set, you have faith in each other that, hey, we can take this back into our own hands no matter what the score is.
Otene off the block. And point for Georgia Tech.
A tough swing by Otene there. You notice that the set was just a little bit off the net, and so you see her slowing down her approach, just having to jump straight up instead of getting her full approach in. But she's such a smart player. She's able to keep that ball alive and get a kill out of it.
And serve. An opportunity in the middle, and Emma Monks knocks it down. See if Rachel Fairbanks can get Pitt on some type of roll here. It's been pretty much back and forth here. Start of the third set. A couple years ago, Georgia Tech won here when the Panthers are ranked second in the country. Trying for another top 10 upset here. And a big hit. Good dig by Fairbanks. And Vasquez Gomez unable to get it over.
Those are the plays that when you're a player out there, they can crush you and they hurt. So those are the ones that you just quickly have to write off and quickly say, hey, my bad teammates, an amazing play, an amazing dig. Let's forget about that. Quick move on to the next one.
The Texas transfer, Deandra Pierce, and big swing. Maybe they'll get Babcock back going again.
See there, she was in the rotation where she's on the outside, so not her typical position. But Olivia Babcock, it does not matter where you have her on the court. She is able to find a way.
Vasquez Gomez to serve. Panthers up 2. And that one hit, not tipped, hit long. Panthers now with a 3-point lead.
Not tipped there. A high swing, definitely was aiming for hands there to try to use Pitt's block, and just a small miss.
Hitting it through the block is Boese. You see Georgia Tech celebrate. They get the serve back, trailing by 2.
Georgia Tech running a 6-2 offense tonight, which now, as we talked about earlier, Pittsburgh has gone into running a 6-2 offense, which just means that basically you always have a setter in the back row, which then gives you 3 hitters always in the front row. And so you have freedom to set any of those players. You also have your back row attackers, and so coaches like to use a 6-2 because you have the advantage of having 3 hitters in the front row. And there we see 3 hitters up, which gives Olivia Babcock full range with only 1 blocker on her.
14 kills for Babcock. On serve at 10-7. And a block by the Panthers. I think that was Babcock who got most of that one as well. And a timeout for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Babcock getting over high and pressing over for a long time. Great setup there, letting Chimaka come in close to her.
11-7 Panthers, but it's Georgia Tech up 2-0 here in Pittsburgh. Firing itself up, Tori Stafford. It's been a rough match for her for the most part, but a big play there.
Stafford's an amazing player, and maybe a bit of an off night so far for her tonight, but I love that block by her. Doesn't matter maybe if she's off offensively, she's saying, hey, I can hang in here and prove myself otherwise. And there she is again, finding a way still.
Isn't it funny how in this game, when you get on a roll, the ball finds you?
Absolutely, and sometimes it finds you when you need it most. So maybe when you're struggling a bit and you get one opportunity, 1 point, and then all of a sudden your mindset is, all right, I'm back in this thing.
That block. Hit by Babcock, dug by Pimentel. Right side tip, hit up in the air. Here comes Stafford again. This time it's blocked by Georgia Tech. Saved, but hit by the Panthers into the net.
I think the setter was underneath.
Yeah.
Underneath. It was a tight dig by Georgia Tech, and so setter jumping up there, doing the best. She is in the back row, so she cannot go under.
And a 5-0 run for the Panthers, now in a 14-7 lead in a must-win 3rd set. And it's Emma Monks that's been the service leader. Stafford almost got a kill out of that, but Wokolo is able to finish it in the middle, and what a run here by the Panthers.
All around a great team effort by Pitt. You see, as you mentioned, the serve starting with Emma Monks, the middle in the back row, playing in middle back. You see the great dig by Logan Mosley coming in and making a difference right off the bat with a great dig over her head. Then Chimaka Wokolo owning the net up there.
How about Mosley, the Virginia Tech transfer, getting this opportunity here?
She's a great player, and she's a veteran, and so she knows that if I can get out there on the court, I'm going to make sure that I deserve to be out here and make a big difference for my team, which is exactly what she's done.
Monk's just consistent serving. That one off the Panthers' hands, and back to Georgia Tech, but now trailing 15-8 off the hit by Mendez. Now, if you want somebody serving, if you're Georgia Tech, it is Bertolino.
This is exactly who you want. She's made great strides for their service runs tonight. Pittsburgh catching a huge break there.
Panthers up 16-8. Georgia Tech won the first 2 sets by identical scores, 25-23. Panthers looking for a big-time rally here at home. Babcock to serve. And an ace.
Such a great aggressive serve. You see with a lot of topspins that sometimes they don't come as aggressive enough, and so passers are sometimes able to handle it pretty well. Babcock just having such a great service night, being super aggressive and hitting it so hard from the back service line.
I mean, when you pay to watch, as you see some of the ranked teams the Panthers have faced this year, 3-2 on the season against the ranked teams. Of course, that Oregon was a 5-setter. BYU early in the season was a 4-setter. And the Panthers have a couple of sweeps. So Olivia Babcock almost went right into your living room. 14 kills and 3 blocks. Also 3 aces for Babcock. But what I was saying is I would pay, I think, to watch Bertolino and Babcock just serve.
Both such impressive.
With no one else
serves.
on the court, just to watch them in some type of serve off.
Right, just in a practice gym, able to go off and see, hey, who can string together more aces tonight?
Is that when you know you're in trouble if your coach says, all right, go return her serve in
right.
practice?
Right, yeah, as a passer, those are tough to stand up against. You just have to stand strong in there, have a strong mindset saying, hey, I want this next one. Serve this one to me. I'm going to show you that I can handle it. And then on the flip side of that, if you're the server, you're thinking, no, you can't watch this.
And you see the numbers for Bertolino. Very impressive. She has a couple here tonight, 3 to be exact, 1 for set point in the last set, but it's been Panthers here in the 3rd set, 17-8. Babcock's serve is dug by Pimentel, but over. Fairbanks to a high rising Stafford. Good dig by Bertolino. Stafford again, and Otene is able to get under it. How about Stafford a 3rd time? Blocked. And the tip sent back, but right back to Boise, who's able to kill it in the middle for a big Georgia Tech point.
Great rally there. We saw a lot of scrappy plays in the back row and the front row, making plays off the block. All in all, Georgia Tech able to get a kill in the middle.
Paola Pimentel to serve for Georgia Tech, trailing by 8 here in the 3rd. Middle kill attempt blocked. Otene blocks that, or tips that off the Panthers out of bounds. Now 10 for Georgia Tech.
High level play there by Otene. You see that is exactly what you want to do in that kind of a situation when the set is a bit on the tight side. You're able to overpower with what we call a shove, able to shove it off the blocker's hands out of bounds. And
Pimentel with an ace, her 14th of the season. And now a run for Georgia Tech.
See Pittsburgh going into a different kind of serve-receive setup here with both of their DSs splitting the court in 2.
Rising high is Tori Stafford to put that away. And monster point for the Panthers as Georgia Tech was rallying back.
Smart decision by Pitt to go into this. So the reason of that was to give Tori Stafford freedom to not have to worry about passing and to do exactly what she did, which is go get outside and get a kill.
6 kills for Stafford. now will serve. And Otene with a big swing through the block. 18-12.
Powerful swing from Otene. We heard that one ricochet off the blocker's hand straight down onto Pitt's side, just with a lot of power and authority there.
Her career high is 27 kills. That came against Loyola of Chicago. Vasquez-Gomez is blocked. Georgia Tech playing better here, getting some momentum. Trailing now only by 5 after the Pierce block. You kind of think one more point and you might see a Pitt timeout. And Fairbanks takes care of that to get the serve back, and a key point for Pitt now, 19-13.
Yeah, great swing from Fairbanks. She does it all. She can set, she can swing. She does it with authority. She's a great player and a great, great asset for Pitt to have.
Dylan Griffin to serve. Otene, perfectly placed. And what has been her match here tonight?
We see Otene's just experience paying off there. So she's served. It's a tough serve at her. It's not a pass that you typically want. It's out of system, forces out of system. But she stays calm and cool and collected. And she's mature enough to say, okay, I missed that pass, but I'm going to get this kill. And now I'm going to go back and get the ace as well.
She is familiar with net games. She plays beach volleyball. In high school in Auckland, New Zealand, she played badminton and a sport called netball. So if it's got a net, she's there. And she's probably excelling at all of it.
I think so. We have been seeing her just show off tonight with her athleticism. Such a great player.
Back in 2021, Georgia Tech came here with the Panthers ranked 2nd in the country. And Georgia Tech able to pull the upset despite big swings like that. Kayla is watching, having played in this match.
Yeah,
so many good memories.
So many good memories, but at the same time, you know, part of the game is taking big losses. And that match, it was a fun match. It was a great environment, and Georgia Tech coming out with the win. They are just such a tough team. They always play their best against Pitt and against any of their opponents. When we talked to Michelle Collier, she said that coming into their matches against Pitt, they respect Pitt so much, and that respect is mutual because both teams come into these matches know that it's going to be a dogfight against one another.
Of course, the last match back in 2022 was at the Peterson Events Center, which is the basketball arena on campus, one of the biggest crowds in Pitt history, and that was a fun 5-setter where the Panthers fell behind 2-1 to come back to win. And a kill in the middle, Emma Monks. Panthers get to 21st, but they have gotten to 21st each of the first 3 sets.
They have. So if you're Pitt right now, you're saying, hey, we have to finish this, not just because they've come back in the past, but because this is a do-or-die situation. We have to win this set in order to move on.
But how do you keep that from being pressure? Maybe you get a nice set off the dig and killed by Vasquez-Gomez.
Pitt talks a lot about pressure being just an opportunity. Instead of pressure, maybe you face it as it's a challenge, it's an opportunity. You want to be in that challenge mindset where you're saying, hey, this is what we train for, this is what we practice every single day, situations like this to come out on top.
So you run to pressure,
yes,
if you will.
Yes, yeah. Typically, you like the pressure. You should want to feel under pressure. You should want to be under the headlights because that probably means that you have a target on your back, and that's a position that if you're an athlete, you want to be in. You can talk a lot about the differences between being underdogs or having that target on your back, and you can find pros for both.
Patterson serve. Panthers up 5. And a big swing by Babcock from the left side. Panthers up 22-16.
A great set by Fairbanks there. You see how the pass was pushed over on the court, and she's able to not only give great speed, but also great location with that, giving Babcock a one-on-one opportunity.
Now Logan Mosley to serve for the Panthers. And blocked is Babcock by Boise. Boise just a sophomore. And now Georgia Tech will serve again, trailing by 5. Panthers just trying to find a way to get this third set. Elena Soares. Swing from the right side this time by Babcock is blocked. Right side hit blocked, dug by Otene. Bertolino's swing is blocked. Bertolino will tip. That's tipped back over. Right side swing is long. No tip.
Georgia Tech asking for a tip there after a great rally. We might see a challenge here. We might not.
It's such a tough call for a coach. You think you only get 2. If you're wrong, you're down to 1. You might have 2 more sets to play, and they will not challenge.
Tough to tell there, but I like the swing by the freshman going up high hands, taking a big rip after a long rally.
Monks, who had the big service run in this third set. Good dig by Monks. Rising up is Stafford. It's blocked out of bounds. Now for the first time tonight, the Panthers have a set point.
Great play by Pitt. Monks with the dig, playing middle back, and then an amazing set by the DS Logan Mosley to step in there and set up Tori Stafford perfectly. Stafford able to swing high and hard off the block.
Big swing. Georgia Tech able to keep it alive. Wokolo ends it. Fitting it comes in the middle.
Great play there.
Serve. Set number 4. Otene long, no touch.
Otene, a rare error that we haven't seen a lot of tonight. She is their go-to player. They will continue to go back to her no matter what.
Even with that error, she's still hitting .469.
Yeah, with her performance so far, she's definitely given herself some good wiggle room there.
A lot of eyes on this match tonight. And an ace by Fairbanks, 2-0 Panthers. You know, next Friday, Georgia Tech against Florida State and the Panthers against Louisville. So I hope you're enjoying this Friday matchup. There'll be another great one next week. Fairbanks with what ended up almost being an ace as Monks was able to put it away in the middle, 3-0 Pitt.
Yeah, great job by Monks to get on that fast. It's a fastball coming at you, and so to be able to use your height, your reach, and your strength to that advantage, you also turn around and say thanks to your teammate for forcing that overpass.
Monks, who grew up in Louisville, then played at Michigan State, and now at Pitt, seen all kinds of different volleyball over her lifetime. And a slide that time by Georgia Tech, off the net and out of bounds. 4-0 Pitt.
Just a few errors coming from Georgia Tech, giving Pitt a big break here, and Pitt capitalizing on those opportunities.
Chance here for Pitt. Fairbanks Rising up is Babcock.
Fairbanks continuously getting Georgia Tech out of system, giving Pitt great opportunities to receive light down balls or free balls, essentially, in order to get some points here.
Olivia Babcock, 16 kills. Back to Otene. That time she's blocked by Emma Monks. And a 6-0 run to start the fourth set, and Georgia Tech calls timeout. What a match here in Pittsburgh.
It's bow time.
It's not just football season.
Rachel Fairbanks serving this entire fourth set.
If you're Pittsburgh, this is how you want to start the match. Come out strong, come out with aggressive serving, aggressive blocking, finding a way to get a point each play.
8 kills, 1 error for Monks in the middle. 6-0 Panthers. Otene puts an end to that with her 20th kill of the night.
Otene with authority there. She did it a little bit earlier in the match, but you just see how calm of a player she is to have an out-of-system pass and immediately be able to get the kill right away.
Serve dug by Stafford. Comes Babcock. Now Babcock with 17 kills. They're probably not aware of where they're at with kills in this match, but it seems like the one does something, then the other comes right back.
Babcock with her 17th kill is a career high for the freshman. Such an impressive career so far, and she'll just continue to grow. It's unbelievable to think that she's just a freshman and already with so many amazing matches and sets played, and she's just going to go up.
Back set dug by Fairbanks. Stafford not touched, out of bounds. Second point for Georgia Tech here in the fourth set.
Out of system set there for Stafford. It was an aggressive, sharp swing. Just barely missed the line there.
Deandra Pierce into the net. 8-2. And Wokolow's checking back in. So Emma Monks almost a little miscommunication there. And in by Bartolino.
An amazing, amazing kill and placement there. Said it earlier tonight. But those back corners, those are where the points lie. It's almost a guaranteed kill if you're able to hit those back corners. They're so tough to stop.
And really, if you go after that, you're probably not going to have much of a chance to get it. So you roll the dice. Suarez, the serve. Stafford tips this time. Suarez, the set. And a hit over. Opportunity here for the Panthers. Rising up. And nearly putting it away, but a really nice dig by Georgia Tech. And a kill in the middle by Chiamaka Wokolo, her 8th.
Great job by Georgia Tech to stay alive in that rally with some big swings coming at them. But in the end, running that middle just too fast by Wokolo, able to hammer it home.
Babcock waiting as they clean the floor on the Georgia Tech side. 9-3 Pitt, but Pitt trails 2-1. Babcock serve, dug by Otene. Stafford able to get it over. And dunked by Wokolo.
Wokolo taking authority up at the net, coming close, tight ball up at the net. She's able to just push that straight down. Really smart decision to shove it to the side there.
You know, a preseason All-ACC, just played 28 sets coming into this match, but really making a difference. Coming off 8 blocks against North Carolina. Head serve, Doug. Chance in the middle for Stafford.
There she is. We have been waiting to say her name a lot tonight. What I love most is, although she's a freshman, maybe having an off night, she is hanging in there, and that's what you want to see. Every single player will have an off night in their career. It's bound to happen. They're going to have a lot of off nights, actually, not just one. And that's just part of the game. But I think the most important thing to highlight with Stafford is the maturity that she is showing here tonight. Although just a freshman, showing that, hey, I'm having a bit of an off night, but you can't get rid of me. I am not going away. I'm hanging in here. You see her first career ACC matches. The numbers are unbelievable. And so she's trying to get back to those tonight.
Is this where you really learn about a player? It's how do they deal with a match where it's not going well?
For sure. So many athletes will have ups and downs throughout their career, and it's what they can make most of in the toughest times. And this is a big matchup tonight. And so for her to hang in there on this big of a matchup when she's maybe not feeling her best, it's really just showing the maturity level that she has.
ACC Freshman of the Week already once this week. Once this year. Olivia Babcock's won that award twice this year. Babcock making a run at another one with 17 kills. The two freshmen making plays, but as we saw earlier and said earlier, the Emma Monks and the Wokolos also, and Dylan Griffins and Logan Mosleys and Emmy Klickas, and on the other side, Bertolino and Pimentel, not just Otene.
Both teams just showing so much depth and so much experience on both sides.
Babcock, she looks up as if, am I going to hit the ceiling with this toss? And that just goes long, so a service error for the Panthers. Babcock will get a rest, and Alexis Akeo will come in.
Akeo coming in for Pitt to be able to run a 6-2, so we'll see the setter, Rachel Fairbanks, now hitting and attacking.
And that one's long, so two really good servers, two errors, and Vasquez Gomez will check in for Mosley.
Both teams with the service errors. If you're in the back on serve receive, you're kind of a nice little breath can be let out because you're thinking, hey, this is one of their best servers, and they just gave us a little bit of a break here.
I think on both sides.
For sure, for sure.
Stafford serve. Rising up is Bertolino, and that goes deep.
Bertolino going for high hands there, or Otene, excuse us. Otene, I believe, on the outside going for high hands there and just missing.
Stafford. And blocked by Wokolo. Swing off the chest. Good dig by Soares. Otene dug by Klicka. Now this time a tip try. We go back and forth. Otene is blocked. And a block in the middle, and into the net is Georgia Tech. And it's 14-4 Pitt here in the fourth set.
Georgia Tech setter trying to get up on that tight pass. Unfortunately, unable to since she's in the back row. Calling a back row attack there. Taking some breathers here now, wiping up the floor. Players.
You're saying that sometimes that's strategic?
Sometimes. That's a long rally, and middles and pins are flying back and forth across the net. So maybe a couple extra seconds here taken for wiping the floor.
Here.
A much deserved breather there.
Well, we have been treated to an entertaining match. Stafford served into the net. Georgia Tech gets it back. 5th point of the set. Pimentel started her career at Miami-Dade College and is closing in on 1,000 digs at Georgia Tech. Kill in the middle, Doug. And Otene deep. just outside the line.
We see a couple hitting errors coming from the Georgia Tech side, which we haven't seen a whole lot tonight. But I think that just speaks volumes to Pitt's block that has picked up this set. They're getting a lot of touches. They're getting straight down blocks. And so they're able to slow down the Georgia Tech offense and then maybe creating a little bit of dysfunction into errors.
Look at a serve for Pitt. This time they'll set up. That's blocked, but out of bounds on the swing by Larissa Mendez.
Great swing by the freshman Mendez there to get them out of that rotation and get the ball back on their side to try to make a comeback here.
7 kills for Mendez. KO sets in the middle. Good block by Georgia Tech. Panthers able to get it over. And a slide by Tech for the point. That Pierce, it was.
I like the decision to run the middle in that situation because Pitt was a little bit out of sorts there because of the scrappy play that they had to make. And so Georgia Tech seeing that, noticing that, and running a quick offensive play to them.
And that ball hit out on the right side by the Panthers. Couple straight points here for Georgia Tech. Fairbanks just missed wide. Miko's serve. Fairbanks again, didn't miss that time.
Refs calling something. A little bit of confusion here. I'm not quite sure what the call was. I believe it was on setter.
I saw the near side give the point to Pitt and then overruled. No challenge from Panthers, obviously. Georgia Tech keeps that run going. And an error there by the Panthers, and Pierce able to put it away. And Georgia Tech's within 5.
Yeah, weird couple plays here for Pitt. They think they get a kill. It's overturned. And then a slight overpass turned to a free kill for Georgia Tech. And so you're starting to feel that Georgia Tech pressure creep in on you.
How about D'Amico? Job she's done. That time, it will be Pitt point on the swing from Fairbanks. 16-10.
Great swing by Fairbanks here. That's what you want to see when a team is starting to creep up. Just saying with authority, nope, we're finishing this right now. We're cutting that run off right now. And now I'm going to go back to serve and get an opportunity here as well.
D'Amico. And it just a mishit by Otene.
Yeah, mishit there. We've seen a lot of her shots work tonight. Just barely off of her hand, weird. What if it would have gone over? It would have been a great placement. But we see all the shots and how smart she is coming. I think from what's pulled from her beach game a lot.
See Fairbanks' stats. Such a big part of what Pitt does. A near ace there, a good dig, and short hit, error by Georgia Tech. And Fairbanks missed some matches, and what an option to have a Rachel Fairbanks on the floor.
Yeah, if you need somebody to step up at setter, if you need a pin attacker, you can put her where you need to, and at the same time, she's an aggressive server, and right there, she's an amazing defensive player as well.
So Panthers keep that alive, and a near error, and kill in the middle is stuffed down by Pierce Butt.
I believe that fell onto Georgia Tech's side, though. It happened so fast. Emma Monks with such a powerful swing. And we see 2 amazing plays there by Fairbanks and Klicka to keep that ball alive. And then Monks able to power through the block.
So Pierce tried to get that block, but Panthers now up 9 in the 4th set, trailing 2-1. Fairbanks trying to make it a 5-0 run after Georgia Tech had made a run of 4-0. Back hit dug by Klicka. From the back comes Tori Stafford, who's come alive here in the 4th.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. You want to see all of your teammates trust you enough to say, no matter what, we're still going to find you, and we still believe in you to get the kill. We see Georgia Tech's block not there up against Stafford, giving Stafford free reign, and a great choice and set by Fairbanks to give it up to her.
Fairbanks continues the serve. She started off with a 6-0 run to begin this set. And that's blocked at the net by Monks. Why is it so different now than the first two sets for Pitt?
I think we see Pitt going back to what they're the best at. In the first two sets, we didn't see them come alive in blocking, and their attacking numbers were maybe a little bit lower than normal. And they've figured out a way, they've fought through, they've clawed through to get back to what they know are their strengths.
Fairbanks. Bertolino just has to send it over. Right side attack is blocked and out of bounds. Pierce was in on that block, and well, how about Pierce, the junior Texas transfer, coming up with some big points, but Georgia Tech down 10 here, Pitt 4 away from evening this match. And that mishit makes it 21-12.
Bit of a miscue there just between Monks and Fairbanks. Maybe set a tiny bit low, needing to get it up a little bit higher for Monks, and Monks trying to get on it fast. The tip might have been a better decision there.
And whistle.
Net call there on Georgia Tech, giving Pitt a kill.
So a 10-point lead again for the Panthers. Logan Mosley, graduate student, has over 1,300 career digs in her career at Virginia Tech. You see a challenge. You know, you've already used a couple of timeouts. Do you think, okay, we need to slow down? Let's take a gamble here.
I think so, and I think it's a smart use of it. They're challenging the net touch on middle blocker for Georgia Tech, and you know, at this point, you find a way to, whatever you need to do to find a way to win, you do it. And so if that's maybe using a challenge call to just slow things down, then you find a way.
There it is. One thing that volleyball has done well with replay, when they see it quickly, they get back to play quickly.
Yeah, which is super important. It's a fast-paced game, and so there's a lot of momentum involved in volleyball as well. And so I think it's great by the officials to know, hey, once we see it, let's get this thing going and rolling right away.
That hit long by Bertolino. The Panthers 2 points from tying this match. Logan Mosley mentioned the 1,300 career digs at Virginia Tech. Also had 20 aces last year with the Hokies. The slide blocked, but out of bounds. Georgia Tech point.
Georgia Tech finding a way to stay alive here. Even though it might seem like a 10-point comeback is hard to do, it's definitely possible. And if it doesn't happen, then you're also thinking into the next match. Okay, what can we feel good about going into this next match, into the next set, into the 5th set as well.
A senior from Birmingham, Elizabeth Patterson, in to serve. Seen her a few times tonight. Just a little far tip by Stafford, almost resulted in a kill. Panthers, Stafford again. Good block. Otene, but kept alive by Pitt. Stafford swings long. 23-14.
Yeah, another good rally there. We see people just finding ways to get touches on these balls, even if it's coming at them fast. They're not focused on making perfect plays or perfect digs. Sometimes you just have to find a way to keep the ball off the floor to keep your team alive in it.
Imagine there's a lot of sweat out on that court right now. Patterson serve. Opportunity here for Georgia Tech. And into the net. Point Panthers. Set point now for Pitt.
Number 25,
and for the first time tonight, Haiti Tautua'a, the freshman, in to serve at set point.
Luckily, she has a little bit of wiggle room here. She's got a couple points, so not too heartbroken maybe over the miss. She has a great serve, and that's why Coach Dan felt the need to put her in right there with that aggressive of a serve.
Suarez. It just needs a point. I think Stafford wants it back. Off Virginia, or Georgia Tech's hands, to victory. Yellow Jackets to serve, and their ace. Bertolino starts with an ace. Bertolino, 4 here tonight.
She's such a threat from the service line, and the aces that we've seen here tonight have just proven that. And not only is she getting a lot of aces, but she also is able to get teams out of system as well.
And 2 straight points because of 2 great serves. And Dan Fisher having a conversation, one of the officials, maybe trying to slow this down a little bit.
Possibly slowing down Bertolino back at the service line.
So after Pitt had rushed out in the last 2 sets early, Georgia Tech with the early lead, but Emma Monks, we talked about her going into this set, just how much she has helped Pitt turn this entire match around. She's stepped up there. She'll go back to the service line now. Monks now 10 kills to go with 5 blocks. And a block there. Wokolo with Babcock.
Between Emma Monks and Chiamaka Wokolo, they are exactly who have stepped up tonight, and we see that early on when Pitt is down 2-0. They have made big plays to try to turn this game around.
And into the net. You're watching the ACC Network. Jeff Hathorn and Kayla Lund here in Pittsburgh. 5th set. Georgia Tech won the first 2, 25-23, then 25-17 Pitt, 25-15 Panthers, and now 3-2 Yellow Jackets. Stafford climbs the ladder. That's saved and bumped over. Stafford again. Dug by Pimentel. And Panther error. And now a 4-2 lead for Georgia Tech.
Good rally to start off here. Georgia Tech ends up coming away with the point.
And a service error for Georgia Tech. Got to imagine the legs at this point in this match.
Yeah, sometimes going into 5th sets, so many players have taken big swings, a lot of swings. And so you feel that kind of conflicting mix of, I'm starting to feel really good, the adrenaline's going, the nerves are going, but at the same time, your body's probably starting to feel it as well.
Babcock going to tie this 5th set up. 18 kills. And Wokolo, a good job by Georgia Tech keeping that alive. Stafford gets it over. Otene hits it deep. Calling for it was Babcock. Wokolo slides, and that ping pong ball falls out.
Almost an amazing save by Georgia Tech there. But Wokolo, what an amazing swing in a long rally. You You see how far over that pass is pushed to the setter, and Fairbanks and Wokolo still finding a way to make some room in there for a kill.
Babcock. And a kill on the other side by Larissa Mendez, the freshman.
Mendez showing great range with that swing. She had 2 Pitt blockers up against her and still finding a way to hit a sharp, sharp kill there.
8 kills for Mendez at second on Georgia Tech's team. D'Amico to serve with Tech up a point. Eyes up, blocked, but through Stafford. That's 10 kills for Stafford, with 7 digs for Stafford.
She's still finding a way. Maybe her hitting percentage isn't as high as she would like it to be, but she's just finding a way to stay in there and stay live in this match, and that's what you want out of a player.
Tip dug. Panthers Klicka will get it over. Georgia Tech trying to kill in the middle and just a little long there by Pierce. The Panthers take the lead at 6-5. Gets the first Pitt lead of this set. And wide is Otene. I think we're going to see a challenge here. Very quick to the card was Michele Collier.
A fast swing. It was hard to tell from up here whether that was in or out. I like Otene going for it. I think she saw a sliver of line. She had the opportunity, and so this will be a close one.
So it goes from 7-5 to 6-6. I think it's wide.
It looks wide to me. I think it's a good call by officials. I think also a great sign is Klicka was on the line. You see her foot on the line, which is a great spot to be in when you have an attacker swinging straight in front of you, right at you, and you see maybe a hole in the block. So she knows that ball is most likely coming to her. Getting her foot on the line is a good sign to be in.
I'm sure you've probably heard in your career about attention to detail. Well, there's a detail play by Klicka, knowing where she is and that anything to her left is out.
Yeah.
It's little things that you preach.
A smart decision by her. You see she's ready there to dig it, and it just happens in such a split-second decision for her to make that choice and, oh, yep, I'm going to let that one go. You see her turn right to the ref and say out.
So 2 missed challenges for Georgia Tech. 7-5 Panthers. But you understand there, it changes to 6-6 if somehow you're able to get that.
Yeah, I think it was a good decision to challenge. It might have slowed some things down as well, and it could have made a big point differential.
Klicka. Vasquez Gomez. Through the block. 8-5 Pitt.
An elite swing there by Vasquez Gomez. That is a veteran swing. You see the out-of-system set coming from Klicka. And just to be able to hit that high and hard off of the block is not an easy thing to do. You see her, Valeria Vasquez Gomez, going up and just making it look easy for her.
And the Panthers just want to keep this run going. It's always has it ever been awkward for you when you switch sides? I mean, you're walking right by your opponent.
It is weird. That was one thing that I liked from COVID, is that we stayed on our same sides the entire time. Whether it's in the 5th set and you're walking past each other, or in between the sets and you're walking past each other, it's just an interesting dynamic that goes into play as well. Are you making eye contact? Are you not making eye contact? What are you saying to coaches as you're walking by and you get a split second of coaching as well? So it's a really interesting dynamic that's sometimes looked over.
And Tip dug by Klicka. Vasquez Gomez dig by Bertolino and a block of Otene.
That looked like it was going to be
into the net,
Pitt's
the Panthers
point.
in the net.
However, I think that block fell down in front of Pitt's face there.
Dan Fisher say something to Rachel Fairbanks, who will now talk official. Oh, you're right. And it's amazing how sometimes you mentioned the speed, where it just seems like that fell on the other side, but clearly on that.
Yeah, it's a fast-paced game, and also when you have a swinger like Otene going up and ripping hard, that ball is either blocked hard or it falls hard. I say a lot of times for heavy hitters, the harder you hit, the harder you get blocked. And so we see there Otene able to get it past the block, but still straight down in front of them. It happens so fast, sometimes it's hard to see.
She's had a couple of double-doubles this year, but not one like this. 22 kills and 13 digs.
She's been really crucial and just has stepped up in so many ways for Georgia Tech tonight. Just a great player, but I think really showing off everything that she is capable of doing, from passing to blocking, attacking, and digging, and serving.
Soares with 21 assists to lead Georgia Tech. For the Panthers, Babcock leads in kills with 18. 40 assists for Rachel Fairbanks. 16 digs for Emmy Klicka. As you see, it became more balanced scoring after the first two sets for Pitt. Obviously more kills, but it started to divide around, and not just Olivia Babcock, as we saw so much in the first couple. Yeah,
which in order to beat a team like Georgia Tech, you need more than one player to step up, and so we've seen that with three other players saying, all right, we got to make a difference here. How can we step up?
Kill attempt in the middle, then pushed over by Wokolo, and a block off Georgia Tech.
Block coming at a great time for Pitt, out of the timeout, out of system here for Georgia Tech. Rachel Fairbanks getting hands on that, having a great setup, so Wokolo has to just close to her and go over strong.
And no time for Bertolino to try to get out of the way of that. Cat Flood into serve for Pitt. Tolino with a big kill in the back.
Gutsy swing from Bertolino. She gets blocked the point before. They're out of system. They set her out of system right away. It's a tough swing, and she goes for it and gets the kill.
You were talking about it being aggressive. She was aggressive there, and it paid off for Georgia Tech. So Patterson into serve again. Panthers up 2 here in the 5th set. Georgia Tech able to get it over. KO sets, and point. Georgia Tech was not tipped off the net, apparently, by Fairbanks and out of bounds.
Yeah, I believe that it hit the net first, but they might be challenging that before the ball went out of bounds, that it touched Georgia Tech right there on the dig for off of number 23.
But it just took a funky bounce off that net, off the swing.
Yeah, Alexis Akeo going back to Fairbanks twice in a row. Both hard cross swings. The first one hitting the block, and Georgia Tech able to turn out of it. Second one hitting weirdly off the net and possibly off of Georgia Tech's defense. We're going to find out here after this challenge.
Oh, it looked like it may have skimmed off her arm.
It looks to me, and what we've seen in this great angles from the camera crew, that it does barely skim her hand there.
It is National Officials Week, so we are being kind. And truthfully, this is such a hard sport. Every sport is. And without officials, we wouldn't be playing.
Absolutely. Officials are so important to the game. It is, like you mentioned, it's such a tough job to have. You have people yelling at you, you have players yelling at you, and we're expecting them to make these decisions in split second based off what they're seeing in such a fast-paced game. And so officials do a great job, and we see there point gets overturned and crowd absolutely erupting here in the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. A great challenge by Pitt.
From 9-8 to 10-7.
In a normal set to 25, you think, oh, there is still plenty of this set left. But in a fifth set, this tight with such great meaning on this entire match, 10-7 lead is a big difference, and you're close to closing out the game.
Panthers up 3. Fairbanks to serve. Dug by Fairbanks. Bertolino. Plica is able to save it. Vasquez Gomez somehow gets it over. And a tip from the back is perfect by Otene. What a decision.
Yeah, a great job by Georgia Tech to stay in that rally. I think they're a little bit mad about maybe a missed call. You see coach's hands up in the air, but what a great tip spot with 3 blockers up, defense ready for a hard swing. Such a smart shot there.
Torres to serve. And a service error makes it 11-8.
Yeah, you're Pitt, you're grateful for that mix. And, you know, although they just got the point before, in such a tight set, in a fifth set, you feel with each point the ups and downs emotionally. And so with a missed serve, you're really grateful for that.
Mosley's serve. And blocked in the middle. Babcock.
What a great block. A hard hit. And the block is there. You see Babcock taking up so much court. It's so hard to hit around that.
You know, it's really amazing. She's 6'5", but she's so athletic. She seems almost 6'1" or 6'2".
She moves as though she is not 6'5". You're exactly correct. And then you see her go up and take up that much space, and it's really an amazing thing to see that she's not like an awkward, lengthy 6'5" player. She is a true athlete. And not only is she just an athlete, she's a freshman, but she plays much older than her, and you see that with that block move. She gets over, not only is she just over, she makes that dive-in move, which is something that you train every single day in a gym. And so for a freshman to come in and pick that up and be able to do it at such a high level right away is so impressive.
Babcock, what a night. I want to mention quickly, the history is being made in Pittsburgh. For the first time ever, women's volleyball is being broadcast on over-the-air radio. Jason Earl and Amanda Siley on 93.7 The Fan, which is one of the top radio stations in all the city, is bringing this live for the first time, which is really, we've spoken on the growth of women's volleyball, and there they are right there doing an outstanding job.
We have an amazing atmosphere here tonight in the field house. And so for a lot of people that maybe aren't able to be here tonight, to be able to watch it on TV, listen on the radio, is super cool for Pittsburgh and women's sports.
Emma Monks. Panthers now 2 sets from coming, or 2 points from coming all the way back from being 2 sets down. Free ball for Pitt. And a kill in the middle for Emma Monks.
Monks having an amazing night. She stepped up most when Pitt needed her to, and she has continued to do so set after set, getting kills, getting blocks, making her presence known, and being a great leader to Pitt.
Wow. Back in last year, not that far back, at the Peterson Event Center on the University of Pittsburgh campus, these two programs went 5 sets, and what a match that was.
Yeah, 5th set. These teams, when they go back and forth, they almost always end up in a 5th set matchup because of how hard both teams play. There have been such long rallies tonight because both teams just fight for every single point like it's game point. We see the win, the dog pile in the Peterson Event Center last year, 19-17 in the 5th.
And I see Bergman, and I just think you know, there's certain players, I'm sure for you, that you love competing against. Maybe not love, but you respected playing against. I mean, one of the best of all time in ACC history.
No, I loved playing against her. She's one of the best players in the world, in the country.
Maybe someday you'll get to play with her.
Right? Yeah, I would love that.
Match point for the Panthers. Babcock ends it.
Who else but Babcock to finish this match for Pitt? She has been on fire all night. They have depended on her all night. The true freshman coming in clutch with a big swing to finish with authority.
How was Pitt able to do this?
We saw